Hello folks, it's Lilia here, and today I'm going to share with you some of my tips on how you can prepare for your speaking test on your own. We don't always have time and money to spend on private tutors or just creating a powerful routine that may allow us to have a partner in our routine we can practice speaking with. So very often you can create an environment where you're free to practice speaking and get a top-notch result without even having to involve another physical presence of another human being in your life. As an introvert and a person who really likes self-studying, I've learned most of my English on my own without any other people's interference. So I just spent quite a lot of time working out the best methods and how you can create a powerful routine that brings you to a good result with a fantastic speaking grade, whatever exam you're planning to take in the nearest future, be it IELTS, CAE, FCE, CPE, TOEFL, basically anything that involves a speaking part where you have to shine. First of all, I'd really like to mention a few things that novice candidates do all the time, and those things don't actually lead you to a solid speaking result. So most importantly, I want you to keep in mind the things that are not speaking, all right? So first and foremost, doing grammar exercises is not speaking. Chatting on Viber or on any other text messenger is not really speaking. Writing an essay does not really have to do with speaking. Writing emails does not have to do with speaking. And even listening on its own does not have to do with speaking. Although, in my opinion and in my practice, it's just the closest skill that you can practice if you do want to have a very clear set of speaking patterns in your mind. So here we come to the first tip: listen a lot. You just need to listen a lot. And although it may sound as if I'm contradicting myself, because what I've just said has to do with the fact that listening is not actually speaking, you do need to listen a lot to put you into the right mood, to let you absorb the rhythm of natural English, which is something you might have to do when you're talking to a native speaker, for example. So you'll be very naturally adjusting the tone of your voice so that it fits the other speaker's level. This is like a psychological thing that we tend to do all the time. So try using that to help you develop your English speaking skills too. And just right from that listening bit comes my next tip. What you do really want to do is respond to the listening material as much as you can. Because you're on your own and you don't have anybody around you, it's very important that you create the speaking practice that is meaningful and important to you and lets you share your ideas in a meaningful way, in a reasonable way, by talking about important things, by talking about relevant things that might actually come up in your exam when you'll be taking one. So what you want to do is you want to play a recording, and then you may pause. So preferably that would have to be a recording where the speaker will be sharing their opinion on something, and you will just pause and just speak out loud how you feel about the subject that the speaker had been discussing in that video of theirs, right? So this is what you want to do. Don't be worried. Don't worry that if you just say something wrong and nobody can control you, that is actually a bad thing. Well, the reason you're taking an exam is because you do want to prove that you have a certain level of English. So what if you just make a mistake? This is okay. There's nothing wrong about mistakes. I love mistakes as a teacher. I always ask my students to make as many mistakes as they can in our interactive communicative lessons, because I believe that by making mistakes is how we learn languages. So if you make a mistake and there's no one to control you, don't worry. There is a high chance that when you're having lessons with a native speaker or with a private tutor, right, so they will not actually pick on every single mistake that you make. They will just focus on the general flow of the conversation. And this is something you can do as well. So what I'm doing right now is I'm talking to you, I'm talking to the camera, I'm alone, there's nobody in this room, so just talking directly to you. And basically you can't hear me right now because I'll have to go through an editing process before I publish this video on YouTube. So this is what I want you to do. Just try creating a conversation out of the material you can hear in the recording and your own thoughts injected right after you listen to another speaker's input. giving opinions on things is a really powerful way to set you all ready for an English exam. So in speaking exams, you have to talk about your own experiences, and very often you have to give opinions on abstract and general topics such as in IELTS Part 3 or CPE, the discussion bit. Well, mostly those high-level proficiency exams have to do quite a lot with exchanging views on abstract and general topics. So this is something you could practice very easily on your own as well. So what you need to do is find a beautiful podcast such as BBC Podcast, Thought of the Day, The Essay. Those are great podcasts. Generally podcasts where people share opinions. In Our Time is a good one if you're into philosophy and arts and, you know, those very abstract and, you know, hard to grasp topics. So what you could do is you could listen to a podcast on anything, and then after the podcast you try to give your opinion on the subject matter by using the vocabulary and grammar structures you will have heard in the podcast. And this is a great piece of practice that you can do on your own, does not have to involve anybody. You could prepare yourself for this task by writing down interesting expressions and phrases you think and find useful into your notebook right at the moment when you're listening, because that will allow you to create a lovely set of notes to help you kick off when you'll be talking about that topic yourself. And plus you can group the vocabulary and use that vocabulary to talk about the topics that are very likely to appear in your speaking exam. Another creative thing that you can do, and obviously I do recognise that this all happens inside your own mind and you don't really have anybody to talk to, but isn't it great because you can feel relaxed and confident about your own speaking and build up the rhythm and build up the pace and everything like that. So here's another little creative task for you. What you could do is create your own exam related tasks based on the vocabulary you're currently learning. I've said quite a few times in my earlier videos that those higher level exams have to do with a high level of vocabulary. So this is something you won't want to do. You learn a set of words, right? You can, by the way, find out how to learn vocabulary by watching some of my earlier videos and learning vocabulary effectively so that you can actually use it later on. So what you do is you get a unit of vocabulary, or you get a word list or a list of expressions you've personally created in your vocabulary notebook, and you try to think up and create exam tasks that might actually involve the usage of that vocabulary. So if you're learning about something on fashion and the unit you're currently going through involves words such as top notch, dressed to kill, a pair of trousers, anything you want, you might actually turn that into an exam topic very easily. For example, here is an example of an IELTS Part 2 task. Think about a party where you had to wear a costume. Think about a Halloween party, fake rabbit ears, a Santa's hat, and talk about it for a minute or two. If you feel as if you do want to have an interlocutor from time to time, so you do want to have, let's say, live ears to talk to, what you could do is you could go to a website such as a mystery animal, which is a Google creation where you can actually talk to your computer. You could talk to a microphone and ask questions in English to find out what the mystery animal is. It's really cool, it's funny, it's very exciting. So this is something you could do on your own without having to go anywhere. And the positive side of that is that you will actually get an impression how good your English is. So you will really get very clear on the fact that your English is being understood. And this is actually quite cool, and this is really rewarding. So you can feel this, and this is really exciting. Yeah, I can speak English. Wow. I'm a proponent of the idea that you can actually improve your speaking by talking a lot on your own. And if to certain people that might come across as a little bit mental or crazy, you don't really have to do that. Surrounded by other people. You can do that when you're at home alone or when you're locked in your own room and you have nothing to do. You can also comment on things that you do quite a lot. So that might involve quite a lot of specific vocabulary. Such as a ladle or a cleaning solution. Just have fun with the language. The fact that it's a foreign language to you does not actually mean that you cannot own it. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please give me a like and subscribe to my channel if you'd really like to become a successful language speaker and if you want to ace your exam, to become great in your exam. And I really hope to talk to you again in my next video.